What's up, guys? What's growing on? And it's about to be what's blowing on with Hurricane Irma kind of closing in on us here. So I've had to kind of cut in the middle of our fruit hunting series here on the East Coast. I felt it was almost doing a disservice to keep going with these normal vlogs, you know, as if nothing has changed. You know, we're in a state of emergency here in the state of Florida right now. Things have definitely changed. You know, all of those videos that you guys were seeing in the last 2 days, that's from my trip to the East Coast right after I went to visit Jim Kowaleski. So we get a little backed up with these vlogs. A lot of them end up being 2 parts, longer than expected. So, you know, we're about a week behind from when this footage actually got taken, or even just a little longer than that. So I had a big job we were supposed to start this week, you know, new construction project on the water. Client calls me, you know, Sunday night and says, or messages me Sunday night and says, hey, you know, this hurricane's kind of looking a little spooky. Let's hold off until after. Can't blame them for that. You know, you don't want to spend a bunch of money and, you know, a big hurricane comes in and washes and blows all that stuff away. So this week, you know, I've been spending some time on my own farm. We don't know what we're going to get here. You know, this is a hurricane. It could turn at any moment. It's huge. I mean, this thing's like 400 miles wide. It's, you know, practically twice as wide as the state of Florida. So I think everybody in the state of Florida is going to be affected. It's just how bad. You know, let's hope for the best. I can tell you right now that it's, you know, it's kind of scary. You know, the highways are bumper to bumper traffic. The gas stations are sold out of gas. The stores are sold out of water. Everybody's kind of getting a little overboard. You know, they're freaking out a little bit. You know, I think we all need to come together here. You know, we only need to buy what we need. You know, I see people walking out of these stores with you know, grocery carts full of the same item. If they would have just taken enough of that one item for themselves, they could have left for the other people. So I think there's a little bit of over purchasing going on. Everybody's kind of, you know, in freak out mode. It's not making things, you know, any easier, I can tell you that. So we're going to be doing some major pruning around the farm today. We're going to be taking down any large structures that could be getting blown over, anything that's standing up that can be laid down. There's a lot of stuff here I'm not even able to do anything about. You know, you guys know I got that big greenhouse. I originally thought I'd have to cut the plastic off, you know, so it didn't blow away like a parachute. And what was I thinking? That's not going to blow away like a parachute. I talked to a friend that's been through some of these hurricanes before, and he said, don't worry, it'll just blow right off. So, you know, unfortunately, if we do get anything over probably 100 miles an hour, I'm going to have to recover the greenhouse, and many other things will need repair around here. So right now we're looking at about 100 to 120 mile an hour winds if the storm does what they say it's going to do. You know, it's a storm, it's a hurricane. You know, nobody knows where it's going. You know, we're all just kind of guessing. We have an idea. So I'm really, honestly, quite worried about this. You know, I'm worried about the people on the East Coast. I'm worried about my friends. You know, in South Florida, the Keys. I mean, you all just saw that beautiful footage from, you know, Lloyd's Bike Tour, the Cable Park, Dr. Campbell's, you know, Fairchild Gardens. You know, those places could be no more potentially after this. You know, and that's kind of, you know, that's sad. You know, people could be losing their lives. You know, who knows? You know, I hope everybody's getting out in time, but you know, it's not looking very good. You know, these highways are packed right now at this time. It's bumper to bumper, you know, places are out of gas, so there's a lot of franticness going on. I saw a video this morning from somebody leaving the East Coast at 3 a.m. in bumper to bumper. You know, everybody thinks, oh, get out in the middle of the night maybe, you know, and won't have any traffic. It didn't work out in that case, so, you know, who knows when to leave. But I'm going to head out into the yard now. I'm going to maybe get you all a little footage of the food forest in case it potentially changes, you know, after this storm comes through. You know, for us, my most important thing is, you know, obviously ourselves, my family, you know, us being safe. Everything else, it's all material, all replaceable. You know, as much as I love my plants and my things, they're just things. You know, they can be replaced. I cannot replace my wife, cannot replace my son, I cannot replace my friends. So that's quite honestly what's most important to us. But we're going to head out into the food forest, walk you all around a little bit. We're going to do some chop and drop, try to keep this video short and sweet, but hang tight, hunker down, and pray for us down here in the South. I'm really hoping that this place looks the same next week, and I can bring you guys some awesome videos from the food forest, but who knows? So I'm always bragging about the microclimate and how we're pushing the tropical edge, and you know, I have this large overstory of grandfather oaks that really, you know, kind of make this like a living greenhouse in here. And it's great, you know, for growing subtropical species. But what I will say is, you know, this is going to be my enemy if we were to have, you know, a Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5, I mean, you know, this Irma, I mean, what do they say? Sustained winds of 185, gusts of 218. I don't even think that's a Cat 5. You know, that's like a Cat 6. That's a quite a powerful hurricane, to say the least. So, you know, these trees have, you know, 100 years old probably. I don't think they've seen, you know, 185 mile an hour winds. So they are grandfather oaks. They are stronger than most trees, but, you know, who knows what they can hold up to. I've been down here, you know, in hurricanes, 120 mile an hour winds. Most of the big trees, the pines, the oaks, are typically okay, but we don't know. Here, you can see the carambola. I'll probably prune that one today. I'll take some height off of that sapodilla. That's what that is right over there. There's a mango right over there. I'll take that new growth off of the top of that. Maybe harvest a couple of racks of bananas. This one right here is looking kind of close. And heading over to this side of the farm, you see we have a lychee. That's a big white sapote. That's a big ice cream bean. A couple of jackfruit. Here's some sugar apples, almost ready to harvest. They're just starting to spread. That one will be close. This is pretty cool. So everybody talks about approach grafting. This video is not supposed to be about grafting, but you can see we planted a couple of jackfruit seeds in the same hole, and they're actually starting to kind of grow together. So I wonder if they're going to get that same effect you would get from approach graft, you know, where you end up with a stronger tree because they have multiple rootstocks. I have this that's happened in a couple of spots. I haven't made a video on it yet. I just figured I'd point it out real quick. So most of these will most likely fall off the trees during the hurricane. So I'll definitely be out here doing some harvesting. You can see there's no lack of starfruit here. This year has been a very, very abundant year. Oh, that one's ripe and ready right there too. Quick tidbit I'll share with you. I was just recently taught, or actually read a couple of books, and I know Dr. Crane has done a lot of work with this down in South Florida, but by bending starfruit branches and actually cracking them, it almost sounds like cracking a back per se. You'll get that crack, you know, as you were to stretch, will actually induce fruiting. So I saw a really cool video on this. I've done a little bit of research on it since I heard about it. Really neat stuff. I'm gonna make you guys a video on that after this storm clears, and hopefully we're all still doing all right. Just so you guys can see, I mean, you know, plants grow quick too. You know, if this place gets wiped out, you know, I can replant all this. It'll be back in a couple of years. Like I said, you know, some things are replaceable, some things aren't. So, this area I'm walking through now, I've got jackfruits on this side, mangoes on this side, carambola on this side. You know, we've got a lot of subtropical species in this area, and a lot of these species actually just got heavily chopped down, like this large jackfruit that I have over here. I probably took, you know, 10 foot off of it maybe a month ago. So, you know, unfortunately, a lot of the bananas are probably going to go down with this wind. You know, they're very top heavy, especially if they're holding a rack. So there's not much we can do about that. I can't go supporting them all. I did just get 2 racks. We have 2 on the back porch, so I recently harvested some. All right, I'm just gonna give you guys a quick walk around the farm. The girls are getting some breakfast here. Picked up some extra feed for them in case I can't get to the feed store for a week or 2. I mean, there was places after Charlie that didn't have power for 3 months. So when I first moved in here, the homeowner that lived here prior had planted a lot of flowering things and a couple of fruit trees. So there was 2 loquats and 2 avocados, and this is one of the avocados. That's a seedling, and it's, you know, it's fairly tall, definitely a little bit on the lanky side, probably not very strong. So I'll probably take, I don't know, 10 to 12 feet off at the top of this one today. So that's definitely going to get some reduction cuts made on it. These japoticabas, I hope are going to be okay here in the pot. Can't really do much with them. Got our fingers crossed, you know, we're preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best. I'm definitely going to take some height off this guava today. You know, this guy is probably 20 foot tall, very lanky. Going to bring down the top of it before it snaps. You know, if we leave all that height on there, that gives the storm something to grab onto, and it could affect and rip out the roots. That's what we don't want. You know, we want more of these. So if we want more of these, we're going to prune it and potentially promote that tree to come right back after the storm, you know, and fruit again. All right, we're going to head out to the front field and start chopping back some of the mulberries, Mexican sunflower, even some of the tall cassava, anything that's soft. Chaya, you know, that's one that's definitely going to snap. Might as well prune it before it starts to come in here. So Everything's dense and full right now. I think Ian's already out there cutting the Mexican sunflower down by the road. I've given the guys off the last couple of days, let them get their own preparations done. He's caught up around his own house, or I wouldn't have him here today. So he wants to see the, the farm thrive too. I think he wants to see it recover well. He probably enjoys being here rather than being home. So hold tight, heading out to the front field. Just took some height off of this chaya yesterday. You could see those are the fresh cuts. It's a very soft tree, so it will snap. Now that's one that we're definitely gonna, bring down a little bit in height. I'm definitely gonna cut that jujube. That's a really tall tree there in the back with the round like leaves. Cassavas are gonna get shortened. They're way too tall, they'll blow over. Here's more of those papayas that I've recovered and come back. There's some really tall cassava again. So the real test out here is gonna be our windbreak. I installed that Seabreeze windbreak when we first moved in, and everybody talks, I think it was Bruce Lee that had that quote, be strong like bamboo. You're very strong, but you're flexible and you're bendable. So, this variety of bamboo should handle the hurricane. It should really well protect this garden, at least, the hurricane that we are expecting. I can't guarantee what a Cat 5 would do. Now, as you can see, this is a lanky moringa. So you can see right there is where I've cut it back, right where it goes from thick to thin. All that 10, 12 feet is new growth. That's all coming off of there. That's all gonna snap. So this is gonna look completely different out here in just a couple hours. Mexican sunflower will be down, cassavas will be down, moringas will be down. Not much going on out in that front part of the market garden. We'll probably cut some of the cassavas down and maybe hit the mulberries again too. I guess it's really nice to just be out here and documenting this footage for myself. I mean, who knows? This thing could turn west. We could end up with a direct hit. There could be nothing left, like I said. We don't know what we're gonna expect. We're preparing for the worst. I do have, my suitcases packed. My truck's loaded with 75 gallons of fuel. If I have to head north as a, last case, worst case scenario, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna sit around here and, pretend that I live in a bomb shelter, because we don't. Mulberries that are coming here behind the fence right next to me, they were just recently cut back. So you can see, we topped these out about 4 foot above that fence. And right after we do that, it always shocks them into fruiting. You can see all of these little young fruits starting to come in. Oh, there's a ripe one. Uh-oh. All these Mexican sunflower are gonna come way down, shorten the cassavas a little bit. Really out here, maybe a little bit more height off of these ever-bearing mulberries. I think the peaches will be okay. Grasses will be okay. Egg figs, all the different fig varieties will be all right out here. So it's mostly the Mexican sunflower, that's very weak, tall and lanky. What's up, guys? So we're out here where we made that video with the 2,000 pounds of vegan manure. And somebody had told me to put a little stick in there so we can actually see how quickly this Mexican sunflower recovers, and I didn't do it right after that video, but today I will stick a piece of bamboo, mark it with tape inside of one of these Mexican sunflowers right here, and y'all will be able to tell how quickly this stuff recovers. So there's that Mexican sunflower taking down the sticks, and what I'll do is I'll put that pole right in the center of it, mark it with a piece of tape, put the date on there, with one of my UV protected markers, and then come back and we'll check it again in a week, we'll check it again in 2 weeks, we'll check it again in 3 weeks, and we can actually get a really good judgment on how quickly this Mexican sunflower grows, so we know for sure, because I am kind of guessing. So I'll get you within the inches this time. You can see this is all coming down. This is cassava that just got too tall. It'll end up just blowing over, so probably won't cut the rest of them quite that low, but we'll get them to where they won't topple. Gonna have to take some height off of these olives a little bit, but I'd say other than the Mexican sunflower, everything else out here along the front should be okay. That's a dwarf variety of bamboo. That's called Alphonse Carr. That can definitely handle this wind. And the big question is, what kind of wind are we actually gonna get, and how are these oaks gonna hold up? So hold tight. Same shirt, different hat. I've been out running errands, getting gas, hunkering things down, getting everything kind of ready. I had to put some new batteries in the gate opener, and I left Ian here. And I've had that kind of going in slow motion, so excuse the noise from next door. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right, but the neighbors are cutting their grass, and we've cut everything down out here that was large in the field. So I've got a day or two yet. If this thing starts to shift paths, I am coming back in here and I'll start cutting some of the hardwood fruit trees back. We've really done mostly Mexican sunflower, cassava, some of the mulberries, you know, but not really any of the hardwood trees yet. So I've left a lot of the peaches alone, left the persimmons alone. A lot of those trees are still kind of young yet too, so I don't know if I'll have to really reduce the size of those. But battery's almost dead, running out of time. We're gonna be doing this again tomorrow. We're gonna be doing this again Saturday, and if it shifts, you know, it looks like it's coming more our way, I'm gonna be doing some heavier pruning on Saturday. So hold tight, everybody out there, you know, it's better to be prepared than scared. So, you know, we're taking some precautions here, but a lot of this stuff would be getting done anyway. We chop and drop on the normal. We're just doing it before the storm. So wishing you all the safest out there. Hoping everybody survives okay with this, especially my folks down on the islands, on the East Coast, South Florida. I hope everybody's all right. I'm definitely, you know, you're all in my heart and my prayers. Be safe. See y'all later. Pound it.